There comes a moment in life when you realize that you cannot keep standing between two choices forever. You can keep asking questions, keep looking for signs, keep wondering whether there is someone better, someone more beautiful, someone more successful, someone who might make life easier. But eventually, you have to become honest with yourself and ask a deeper question. Who is the person I truly want to build my life with? For a long time, I thought choosing a wife would be about finding someone who checked every box on a list. Someone who looked perfect, sounded perfect, understood everything I said, and never challenged me. But life has a way of teaching you that perfection is not what creates a lasting relationship. What matters is recognition. It is that moment when you look at someone and realize that something about their heart speaks to the future you have been praying and preparing for. Choosing someone to spend your life with is not a small decision. It is not something you make simply because your emotions are strong on one particular day. Feelings can change. Circumstances can change. Life can become difficult. But when you truly recognize the person you want beside you, you begin to see beyond the excitement of the present moment. You begin imagining ordinary mornings, difficult conversations, unexpected problems, quiet evenings, celebrations, disappointments, growth, sacrifice, and all the moments that make up a real life. And that is when the choice becomes real. I had to stop asking, who makes me feel the most excited? And start asking, who brings out the best version of who I am becoming? That question changed everything, because the right person is not necessarily the person who makes your life effortless. Sometimes the right person is the one who challenges you to grow, the one who reminds you to be patient when you want to react, the one who encourages you when you feel like giving up, the one who can see your weaknesses without using them against you. That kind of connection cannot be measured by appearances. You can meet hundreds of people and still feel alone. You can have conversations with many people and still never feel truly understood. Then one day you encounter someone whose presence feels different, not because everything suddenly becomes perfect, but because you recognize something genuine. You recognize kindness. You recognize peace. You recognize strength. You recognize a heart that is not pretending to be something it is not. And when you recognize that, you have a responsibility to take the decision seriously. I believe we sometimes complicate love because we are afraid of making the wrong choice. We want absolute certainty before taking one step forward. We want guarantees that there will never be pain, disappointment, disagreement, or uncertainty. But no meaningful commitment comes with a guarantee like that. Marriage is not a promise that life will always be easy. It is a promise that two people are willing to face life together. So when I say I chose my wife, I am not simply talking about choosing a person. I am talking about choosing a direction. I am choosing the kind of future I want to build. I am choosing loyalty over convenience, commitment over temporary excitement, and character over appearances. And perhaps the most important part of that choice is understanding that I cannot ask someone else to give me a future that I am not prepared to help create. If I want a faithful wife, I must become faithful. If I want patience, I must learn patience. If I want honesty, I must practice honesty. If I want a strong marriage, I must be willing to become a stronger man. Because eventually, the question is no longer, who will I choose? The question becomes, who am I becoming for the person I have chosen? And that is where the real journey begins. There is something powerful about realizing that the person you choose to spend your life with does not have to be perfect. For so long, we can create an image in our minds of what our future partner should look like, how they should behave, what they should say, and how they should make us feel. We build an imaginary standard that no real human being could ever completely satisfy. Then, when someone genuine enters our life, we sometimes overlook them because they do not match the picture we created. But love has taught me that perfection was never the goal. The goal is purpose. I stopped looking for someone who had no weaknesses and started looking for someone whose heart was moving in the same direction as mine. Because every person has imperfections. Every person has fears, insecurities, past experiences, mistakes, and moments when they do not know what to do next. I have my own weaknesses. I have moments when I struggle, moments when I need patience, moments when I need someone to remind me who I am. So how could I demand perfection from another person when I am still learning and growing myself? A real relationship begins when two imperfect people decide that they are willing to grow together. That does not mean ignoring serious problems or pretending that everything is acceptable. It means understanding what truly matters. It means looking at character instead of simply looking at appearance. It means asking whether this person knows how to love when things are difficult, whether they can communicate when emotions become intense, whether they can apologize when they are wrong, and whether they can celebrate your growth without feeling threatened by it. Those qualities matter more than a perfect smile or an impressive image. There's a difference between someone who looks good beside you and someone who helps you become better. There's a difference between someone who makes your life exciting for a moment and someone who gives you the courage to build something lasting. And when you understand that difference, your standards begin to change. You start paying attention to things that cannot be seen in a photograph. You notice how someone treats people who cannot offer them anything in return. You notice how they speak about their family, how they respond when they are disappointed, how they handle pressure, and whether they keep their word. You notice whether they have compassion when someone else is hurting. You notice whether they can be humble when they are praised and strong when life becomes difficult. Those are the things that reveal a person's heart. And I think that is what I mean when I say I stopped looking for perfection and started looking for purpose. I wanted to know whether the person I chose could walk beside me through the real journey, not just through the beautiful moments. Could we grow together? Could we encourage one another? Could we face difficult seasons without allowing those seasons to destroy what we were building? Because eventually, every relationship faces a storm. There will be days when one person is tired and the other has to be patient. There will be moments when communication becomes difficult. There will be disappointments, financial pressures, unexpected changes, personal struggles, and dreams that take longer than expected. If the foundation is based only on excitement, those challenges can quickly expose how fragile the relationship really is. But when the foundation is built on purpose, something different happens. You remember why you chose each other. You remember the values that brought you together. You remember the character you admired. You remember the promises you made. And instead of immediately looking for an escape, you look for a way forward. That is the kind of relationship I want. I do not need someone who makes every problem disappear. I need someone who is willing to stand beside me while we face those problems together. I do not need someone who agrees with everything I say. I need someone honest enough to challenge me when I am wrong and loving enough to help me become better. And I want to offer that same kind of love in return. Because choosing a wife is not about finding the person who completes an imaginary perfect picture. It is about recognizing someone whose values, heart, and direction align with the future you are prepared to build. Perfection may look beautiful from a distance, but purpose is what carries two people through a lifetime. And when you find someone worth building with, you stop searching for perfect and start preparing for forever. When you begin to think seriously about choosing someone as your wife, you eventually realize that beauty can catch your attention, but character is what holds your attention. A person's appearance may be the first thing you notice, but it is their heart that determines whether you can truly build a life together. The older I become, the more I understand that what matters most is not what someone looks like when everything is going well, but who they are when life becomes difficult. Because anyone can be kind when everything is going their way. The real question is, what happens when they are disappointed? What happens when they are tired? What happens when someone disagrees with them? What happens when they have nothing to gain by being generous? Those moments reveal the heart in a way that appearances never can. That is why I began paying attention to the things that cannot be photographed. I wanted to know whether the person I chose could love with patience, speak with honesty, forgive sincerely, and remain compassionate even when life was not giving them what they wanted. I wanted someone who understood that strength does not always mean being loud or having control. Sometimes strength is being gentle when you have every reason to be angry. Sometimes strength is saying, I was wrong. Sometimes strength is staying when walking away would be easier. Those qualities became more important to me than anything on the surface. I began to understand that a beautiful relationship is not created by two people who are constantly impressed by each other. It is created by two people who genuinely respect each other. Respect means listening even when you disagree. It means protecting one another's dignity. It means refusing to use someone's vulnerability as a weapon. It means understanding that the person beside you is not an object you possess, but a human being with dreams, fears, responsibilities, and a unique story. And when you find someone with a heart like that, you recognize something valuable. You recognize humility, you recognize compassion, you recognize loyalty, you recognize someone who does not need an audience to do the right thing. That last quality matters more than people realize. Anyone can appear generous when others are watching. Anyone can speak beautiful words when they want to impress someone. But character is revealed in private moments. It is revealed when nobody is applauding. It is revealed in how someone treats a waiter, a stranger, a family member, a friend who is struggling, or someone who cannot give them anything in return. That is where the truth lives. And I think love becomes deeper when you stop asking, how does this person make me feel? And begin asking, what kind of person is this? Those are two very different questions. Feelings can be powerful, but feelings alone cannot carry a marriage. You can feel deeply connected to someone and still discover that your values are completely different. You can be attracted to someone and later realize that you cannot trust them. You can have chemistry and still lack the foundation necessary to build a peaceful home. That is why the heart matters. I want the person beside me to have a heart that can endure, a heart that can forgive, a heart that can admit mistakes, a heart that does not become cruel when hurt, a heart that knows how to celebrate someone else's success without jealousy, a heart that can remain hopeful when circumstances are uncertain. And if I am asking for those qualities, I must also be willing to develop them within myself. I cannot expect someone to bring peace into my life if I constantly create chaos. I cannot demand honesty while hiding my own truth. I cannot ask for patience while refusing to practice patience. Love becomes meaningful when both people take responsibility for the kind of relationship they are creating. That is why choosing a wife is much more than choosing someone you love. It is choosing someone whose heart you can trust with your future. Because one day the excitement of the beginning will become ordinary life. The conversations will become familiar. The celebrations will be mixed with responsibilities. And when those moments arrive, you will discover whether you chose someone based only on what you saw or whether you truly recognized who they were. I want to choose the heart. I want to choose character. I want to choose the person who can walk through ordinary days and difficult seasons with the same sincerity, because beauty may open the door, but character is what makes you want to stay. Before I could seriously choose someone to become my wife, I had to ask myself a question that was much harder than I expected. Am I actually ready to be the man that a marriage requires me to be? It is easy to imagine having the right person beside you. It is easy to dream about love, companionship, a home, family, and all the beautiful moments that come with marriage. But wanting those things is not the same as being prepared for them. At some point, I had to stop thinking only about what I wanted from a wife and start thinking about what I would bring into the relationship. Because if I want someone who is patient, I have to learn patience. If I want someone who communicates honestly, I have to become honest even when the truth is uncomfortable. If I want someone who remains loyal during difficult seasons, I have to understand that loyalty is not something I can demand from another person while treating commitment as optional myself. Marriage does not simply reveal the person you love, it reveals the person you are. That realization changed the way I looked at preparation. I understood that becoming ready for marriage was not about having every detail of life figured out. It was not about becoming wealthy, successful, or completely free from mistakes. Nobody reaches a point where they have no more growing to do. Being ready means being willing to grow. It means knowing how to take responsibility when you make a mistake instead of immediately searching for someone to blame. It means learning how to control your words when emotions are high. It means understanding that winning an argument is not always as important as protecting the relationship. It means being able to say, "I was wrong," without feeling that your pride has been destroyed. That kind of maturity is not always comfortable. Sometimes you discover things about yourself that you do not want to see. You realize that you can be impatient. You realize that you sometimes listen only to respond instead of listening to understand. You realize that fear can make you defensive and insecurity can make you suspicious. But discovering those weaknesses is not a reason to give up. It is an invitation to become better. Because I do not want to enter a marriage expecting another person to fix everything that I have refused to fix within myself. I want to bring peace, not constant confusion. I want to bring encouragement, not insecurity. I want to bring commitment, not uncertainty. I want to become someone whose presence makes the person beside me feel safe enough to be honest, strong enough to dream, and loved enough to grow. That does not mean I will never fail. I will fail. There will be days when I say the wrong thing. There will be moments when I become frustrated. There will be situations where I need forgiveness. But being ready does not mean being perfect. It means being accountable. It means recognizing when you have hurt someone and caring enough to make things right. That is the kind of responsibility love requires. And responsibility is not only about difficult moments, it is also about showing up in the ordinary ones. It is remembering the little things. It is listening after a long day. It is supporting the dreams of the person you love. It is celebrating their victories without making everything about yourself. It is being present when nobody is watching and there is no reward for your effort. Those small choices become the foundation of a strong marriage. I also learned that choosing someone means accepting that they are going to grow and change. I cannot expect my wife to remain exactly the same person I met years earlier. Life will shape both of us. Experiences will teach us. Responsibilities will change us. Our dreams may develop. Our priorities may evolve. The goal cannot be to freeze someone in the version that first attracted me. The goal has to be growing together while protecting the values that brought us together. That requires patience. It requires humility. It requires commitment. And perhaps most importantly, it requires understanding that love is not just something you feel. It is something you practice. Every day gives you another opportunity to choose kindness instead of anger, understanding instead of judgment, forgiveness instead of resentment, and commitment instead of escape. Those choices determine what kind of relationship you build. So before I could say, I have chosen my wife, I had to look at myself and ask whether I was willing to become the husband she deserved. That question is still important because choosing the right person is only half of the story. The other half is becoming the right partner for them. And when you are willing to do that work, love becomes more than a dream. It becomes a responsibility you are honored to carry. When you choose someone to become your wife, you are choosing much more than the person standing in front of you in that beautiful moment. You are choosing a future that neither of you can completely predict. You are choosing the possibility of ordinary mornings, difficult nights, unexpected responsibilities, shared dreams, and seasons that will test everything you believe about love. That is why I began to understand that choosing a wife cannot simply be about romance. Romance may begin the journey, but commitment is what gives that journey direction. It is easy to love someone when everything feels exciting. It is easy to make promises when the future looks bright and every conversation feels effortless. But real love eventually moves beyond those moments. Life becomes busy. Responsibilities increase. Plans change. People get tired. Problems appear that neither person expected. And suddenly, love is no longer just about how someone makes you feel. It becomes about what you are willing to do when feelings are not enough. That is when commitment becomes real. I want to choose someone knowing that I am not only choosing the beautiful moments. I am choosing the difficult conversations too. I am choosing the days when one of us may feel discouraged. I am choosing the moments when patience is required. I am choosing the possibility that we will disagree, misunderstand each other, or face circumstances that make us question what comes next. Because a future together is not built by avoiding difficulties. It is built by learning how to face them together. There is something powerful about knowing that when life becomes uncertain, you do not have to face it alone. You have someone who is willing to stand beside you, not because everything is easy, but because the relationship is worth protecting. That kind of commitment changes the meaning of love. It means saying, we will figure this out. It means saying, I am listening. It means saying, I may not have the answer today, but I am not walking away simply because this is difficult. Those words may not sound as romantic as a perfect promise, but they can become more valuable than any romantic moment. Marriage is built in ordinary moments. It is built while making decisions, solving problems, helping each other, forgiving mistakes, encouraging dreams, and learning how to communicate when emotions are strong. It is built when two people stop keeping score and start asking what they can do to make the relationship healthier. That is why I do not want to choose a wife only for what she can give me. I want to choose someone because I am prepared to give something meaningful to her too. I want to be willing to sacrifice when sacrifice is necessary. I want to support her dreams even when they require patience. I want to celebrate her achievements without feeling that her success takes anything away from mine. Because when two people truly become partners, success is no longer your success or my success. It becomes something we celebrate together. And the same is true of difficult seasons. If she is hurting, I should care. If she is afraid, I should listen. If she is struggling, I should not make her feel ashamed for needing support. And if I am the one who needs help, I should be humble enough to accept it. That is what choosing a future really means. It means understanding that love will require sacrifice. There may be moments when I have to put my own preferences aside. There may be times when plans have to change because life demands something different. There may be dreams that take longer to achieve. There may be seasons when the relationship requires more patience than passion. But those seasons do not necessarily mean something is wrong. Sometimes they are the moments that reveal what something is truly worth. Anyone can stay when everything is easy. Commitment becomes visible when staying requires courage. And I believe the strongest relationships are not necessarily the ones that never experience problems. They are the ones where two people refuse to let every problem become a reason to abandon each other. That does not mean tolerating disrespect or ignoring serious problems. It means understanding the difference between a difficult season and a broken foundation. It means choosing communication before assumptions, forgiveness before resentment, and teamwork before selfishness. When I choose a wife, I am choosing someone with whom I want to build that kind of future. Not a perfect future, a real one. A future where we can laugh together, dream together, struggle together, grow together, and continue choosing one another through every chapter. Because love is not only about finding the person you want beside you when life is beautiful. It is about finding the person you are willing to stand beside when life asks both of you to become stronger. That is when choosing someone becomes more than romance, becomes a commitment to a shared life. When you finally choose someone, the choice itself is not the end of the story. It is only the beginning. You can say the words, make the promise, and feel completely certain in that beautiful moment. But a relationship becomes real through what happens after the decision. Choosing someone means deciding that the love you feel today deserves to be protected tomorrow, and the day after that, and through every season that life brings. If I say that I have chosen my wife, then I have to understand what those words actually mean. I cannot treat love like something that only matters when everything feels good. I cannot expect commitment from her while giving her uncertainty in return. I cannot ask her to believe in our future if I am unwilling to work for it. A choice becomes meaningful when your actions continue to support the words you have spoken. That is why I believe love has to be chosen again and again. There will be mornings when everything feels easy, and there will be days when both of us are tired. There will be moments when we laugh until we cannot breathe, and there will be moments when we sit quietly because neither of us knows what to say. There will be victories we celebrate together and disappointments that require us to encourage each other. Through all of those moments, the question will not simply be, do I still feel the same excitement? The deeper question will be, am I still willing to love this person with patience, honesty, and commitment? That is where real love is tested. I want to build a relationship where trust is protected. Trust can take years to build and only moments to damage. That means I have to be careful with my words, honest with my actions, and faithful even when nobody is watching. I have to understand that loyalty is not something I can demand while refusing to practice it myself. If I want my wife to feel secure, I have to create security through consistency. If I want her to trust me, I have to become trustworthy. If I want her to communicate openly, I have to listen without immediately becoming defensive. And if I make a mistake, I have to be humble enough to admit it. There will be disagreements. Two people can love each other deeply and still see things differently. The goal cannot be to eliminate every disagreement. The goal has to be learning how to disagree without destroying each other. I want to remember that the person I'm arguing with is not my enemy. She is the person I chose to build with. That changes the way you approach conflict. Instead of asking, how can I win this argument, you begin asking, how can we understand each other? Instead of trying to prove that you are right, you begin trying to protect the relationship. Instead of allowing pride to control the conversation, you learn to say, help me understand what you are feeling. Sometimes love means speaking. Sometimes love means listening. Sometimes love means giving someone enough space to calm down before continuing the conversation. And sometimes love means being the first person to say, I am sorry. Those moments may not feel dramatic, but they are the moments that build a marriage. I also want to remember that the person I choose has dreams of her own. She has goals, fears, talents, and hopes that existed before I entered her life. Loving her means not trying to shrink those dreams so that they fit conveniently into mine. It means encouraging her to become everything she was created to become. And I hope she will do the same for me. Because a healthy marriage should not make two people smaller. It should help both people become stronger, wiser, kinder, and more courageous. There will be sacrifices along the way. Sometimes one person will need more support. Sometimes plans will change. Sometimes we will have to wait longer than we expected. But sacrifice does not have to mean losing yourself. It can mean choosing what is most important instead of always choosing what is easiest. That is the kind of commitment I want. I want to be able to look back years from now and know that I did not only love her when she was easy to love. I loved her when life was complicated. I stood beside her when she was struggling. I celebrated her when she succeeded. I protected her dignity when she was vulnerable. I remained honest when honesty was difficult. And I want the same kind of love in return, because the most beautiful part of choosing someone is realizing that you get to keep choosing them. Every day gives you another opportunity to strengthen what you have built. So if I chose my wife, then I also chose the responsibility of loving her well. I chose trust. I chose loyalty. I chose patience. I chose growth. I chose a future that we would build together, one decision at a time. And perhaps that is what true love really means. Not simply finding the person you want, but becoming the person who is willing to choose them, protect them, respect them, and love them again and again.